bring me some food. This lady texted me and say she sent me an Apple request for $100. I replied with Apple Pay and sent her $1. She says you forgot 2 zeros. I say I sent all I could. She said okay. Now I was waiting to see if she was gonna bring me some food. The food never came. But the text message never came. Like, hey, I got you some food. That never came. And I made a decision right there. It's over. It's over. You don't care about my well-being. You don't care that I'm hungry. You don't care about me.
Okay, so thank you for watching that video, and I'm just gonna give you my little feedback on that, right, and how I feel or look at the situation. Because when I first saw the video, I saw it on YouTube and it did not have a caption or context or anything, but then I come across it again on Instagram, and it came with a caption. The caption, it asks, am I tripping, right? And the context was they had, him and the girl had, been talking for 2 months. They had gone on 3 expensively dates, because he said expensively. He said this shit wrong and left it, and I didn't. It is what it is. Anyway, he said that he went on 3 expensive dates with this woman over the course of 2 months. They had been talking. He put air quotes around it, or quotes around it. And he said that she was out to lunch with her friends, and that's when he decided to ask, right? Or she was just out to lunch. I don't know if she was with her friends or not. I added that little part to it, right? So those were the facts that he provided us, okay, about this woman, right? And here is my issue, okay, with these type of scenarios or situations. One, we do not know how the woman feels about this man. We don't. We can assume, we can make assumptions based off of her reaction or her response, to what he presented and what he told us, but we don't know what the full background is, right? We don't know why she doesn't feel, like she should want to do this, or like she wants to. We don't know what her reason for saying no or requesting that money. We have no idea. We don't know how many fucked up positions this man has left her in. We don't know how many times he's been rude to her. We don't know how off-putting he is in real life. We don't know. And I'm not saying that the man is. I don't know the man, and I'm not trying to paint him in a bad light. That's not my goal. My goal is just to provide possibilities, scenarios, right? That could have, at the very least, right, created the reaction or the response that he got from this person. A lot of times in relationships, I feel that, and I find that men aren't checking with the woman to see that she's on the same page. In their minds, if they're on one page, they're on go for that page. And they never check to see, well, does this person want me for more than, just my resources? Does this person like me for, who I am as a person? Does this person take up any real interest in me, right? They don't do that type of discernment or introspection or inspection at all. Like, there's just this idea that, this girl is fine. She gonna give me some time to be around her. I got this time to try and get what I can get out of her. And a lot of times that is what is being given, okay? And so when, as a woman, when you know that the vast majority of men are not taking you serious, they see you as a conquest for ass, right? You cannot be one of those women that's out here just offering ass just to fuck because. You can't. Even if you want to be out here offering ass just because you horny and you want something, you still can't, because you still have to maintain a certain image and or brand that is comfortable for you. For you. It's not about what other people see you and no. It's about, am I operating in a way that speaks to the level of treatment I want, that speaks to the level of comfort I'm going to have with myself, right? So if the woman is fine with being a whore, right? If you're fine with running around and doing what you want to do, You don't mind. You don't give a fuck that there's a reputation. You don't care about those things, right? But there are people who care about having a reputation. And if you care about having a reputation, you're going to care about your brand. You're going to care about what other people are able to say about you. Now, you can't control all of that. You can't. But for the most part, you can control certain things, right? Like, there aren't a whole bunch of men who could run around and say they've had sex with me. There aren't. It just is what it is, right? And I'm thankful for that. But I also prioritize that level of exclusivity. I prioritize, right, being able to say, not that many men have had access to me. Not that many niggas can run around here and say that they fucked me. Not that many men can run around and say that they've touched me or whatever the fucking case may be. And even now, not that many men can say, oh yeah, I took her out. We went out one time. You can't say it because you can't get me out the fucking house. You cannot get me out the house, right? Because I have a certain level, right, or brand, right, that I want to give off, that I want to maintain, period, point blank. And so whatever your goal is, right, if it's not in alignment with my brand and how I see myself and what I want out of the situation, it don't fucking matter to me. So going back to old girl, we don't know what her brand is. We don't know what she's on. Is she a Brittany Renner type of girl, right? Or is she a Sierra, right, type of girl, right? Is she a Evelyn Lozada? I don't know if you know who that person is. Or is she a Jennifer Williams? You know what I'm saying? Or is she a Tammy? Like, you have to know how women are operating, what motivates them to take you serious or to do those things. And a lot of times, men aren't looking into that. What they see is, oh, well, this person looks a certain way. This person wears certain things or nice things, whatever. So let me take them to an expensive place because I know that they like that, right? Or this person doesn't have anything at all. Let me impress them, right, by taking them to an expensive place, right? To secure whatever your end goal is. And it could be anything. And 9 times out of 10, right, a man's end goal with you is to get you back to his house or to a house, to somewhere so they could fuck, period. This is what it is. And that's not our fault that we believe that. It's your fault for creating that reputation. You all have to learn how to go out and not seek sex at the end of every interaction you have with a woman. So women don't automatically think, oh, at the end of the day, that's all he's going to want from me anyway. He's a dub. That's on you. 100% on men. But that's another conversation. Let's stick to this one. So the fact that you have to keep that in your mind, why would a woman sit here and rush out to be offering you food and meals and shit like that, labor or whatever have you, labors of love, honestly, for someone that is in a rotation, right? Or someone who has you in a rotation. Like, why am I going to be one of those bitches that get to, run and bring you food? Go and ask one of these other bitches. You can't ask me that. I'm not coming to bring you food. Unless I fuck with you like that, I'm not doing all of that work for you. If anything, you want to come and pick this shit up. But I ain't come, but whatever. That's really not the conversation. The conversation is mostly that I don't believe this man's story. Like, I think that he's lying. I think that he, I don't want to say lying, but what I will say is I feel like he tried to manufacture, right, the story to solicit sympathy from other people and to also make the girl seem like she was a bad person or not a good, prospect or potential, simply because she didn't care about him. She didn't care about his well-being. That's bullshit. And the reason why it's bullshit is because how do we know how much he showed her that he cared about her well-being? That now all of a sudden she's supposed to just up and jump and say, okay, let me go and drop this nigga off some food after I leave lunch or brunch or whoever the fuck with my friends or whoever I was with. Maybe I wanted to go dancing after brunch. Maybe I wanted to go shopping. Maybe I wanted to go to a flea market. Maybe I wanted to go home and sleep. Maybe I wanted to go and fuck a completely different person than you. I don't need to be bringing you food right after this. And if I am bringing you food, you need to send me $100 because one, I'm all the way on this side of town. You're on that side of town. I got to get your food and I got to drop it to you. I need money for this. I need compensation for this. Because also, if you're paying attention, they only been on 3 fucking dates and 2 fucking months. That's 60 damn days. That's 60 days. That's 8 fucking weekends that you had to take this woman out on more than 3 damn dates. And you took her out on 3 dates. You took her out on 3 expensive dates. And you want me to understand that, oh, this was an expensive date because in your mind, because the dates were expensive, you should have been rewarded. You should have gotten something too, right? You should have gotten something out of this, right? And I'm going to assume, right? I'm going to assume just based off of what I understand about all of this, right? That this person has not built a connection with this woman, a strong enough connection with her so that she would even think about him in that kind of way. Because we don't all just sit around. You don't go to work and think about your coworker and say, oh, let me bring them something to eat. You care about them. You think about, you like them, but it's not about, you're not caring about their well-being, right? But it's just not your responsibility. It's not in your frame of reference when you're out and you're doing things. So if she's not thinking that, if it doesn't come to her mind that that's what she wants to do, then you guys haven't developed a strong enough connection there. It's just not there. And I can tell that for the most part because you've only been on 3 dates in 2 fucking months. When I got into my last relationship, and honestly, it wasn't just him. I'm just speaking about him, right? But every relationship I've been in, as soon as I met that man, he did not want me to leave. I was with him the next day, the day after that, and the day after that, unless I had, work or some other shit in between time and in the meantime, So again, I'm just using my own personal understanding, right? And what he said, I'm under the impression that they didn't have a good relationship. They didn't have a stable relationship. No, she didn't care about your well-being, but you didn't care about hers either. You might have wanted more from her, but you wasn't giving enough to her for her to reciprocate that energy or to want to give off that energy. You guys haven't built that connection. And therefore, you can't have these expectations or wants or desires. And then what really annoyed me was he goes at the end, well, when I didn't get that text and I didn't get the I'm bringing you food and I didn't hear back from her, I just decided it was over. You didn't care about me. You didn't care about my well-being. No, it's over because you all didn't build a connection and you're now wanting to squeeze something out of this because you took her ass out on 3 expensive fucking dates. You wanted something in return for those 3 dates. You wanted something. Even though it was only 3 dates in 2 fucking months. It wasn't even like it was 3 dates in 3 weeks. 3 dates in 2 weeks. No, it was 3 dates in 60 days. That was not your main. That was not somebody you was really pursuing. That was not somebody you really gave a fuck about in that kind of way. So I don't understand why she needed to care about you and your well-being or any of that. Why did she need to feel like, oh, let me get him something. Let me bring him something because he asked me? I have the option to say no. And what if she couldn't afford it? Your little 3 dates didn't incentivize her or make her feel, right, like this was someone that she could also invest back into. It didn't. And that's not her fault at all. You should have read the room. You should have done a better job. You should have figured out what interested her, intrigued her. You should have gotten to know her more, but you didn't. And that's not her fault at all. The last thing I want to say is this woman more than likely sent that $100 request, right? Because that man, if you look at the video, okay, right above his head, it says rich and employed. Now, I don't know if the screen is cut off because I think the brand is rich and unemployed. I think that's what the brand is. I'm not really sure, but I think that's what, because his shirt has said rich and unemployed on a different video, I think, or even in this video. I'm not sure. But in the video, right, you see rich and unemployed. He's in a very nice studio, right? You see where my black ass is. I'm in my house with my little, beat up chair, okay? And good for him. I'm not hating, but I'm just saying, right? Let's really pay attention, right? He has on a very fancy watch and a bracelet. He has earrings on both sides. He has an overwhelming amount of tattoos everywhere. He has a big, thick ass chain that I see rappers wear. Okay, so I'm going to assume that chain was minimum $5,000, $10,000, somewhere around that, right? Then we're not even talking about his clothing, right? Because he has a hat on. We know that the hat is probably a $300 hat, $200 hat. We know that the jacket is probably a $400 or $500 jacket. I don't know what the jeans are. I don't know what the shirt is, but I'm going to assume that In total, this man is walking around with damn near $10,000 to $15,000 worth of things on. He had $100 to pay for his meal. He had it to give, but he wanted to offload that onto her. He wanted her to feel generous about him because he was hungry and his well-being was up. My thing is, you're rich and unemployed. You got money, right? You got the means, and you unemployed, so you got motherfucking time. What I don't understand is what is going on in your home, in your household, or with you on that day that you couldn't go get your own food. Why did you need to put that onto this person? What type of relationship did y'all develop that made you feel like, well, let me just ask her? Because it seemed like he wanted to see what she would say. It didn't seem like he knew her well enough to know how she was going to respond. You've been talking to this person for 2 fucking months, right? For 2 months, right? And y'all been on 3 dates, but you don't know if she would bring you food. So you're just doing this out here to see. And then at the end, it's, oh, she doesn't care about my well-being. It's not her job to care about your well-being. It's not. It does not sound like to me that y'all built a relationship or a connection that would make her feel incentivized to do those things, would make her feel compassionate to do those things. It just doesn't. Your grocery store clerk wouldn't do that for you. If you had hit up, I'm trying to think of other people you would probably have a similar relationship with, right? The UPS guy, you probably see him 3 to 4 times a week. He's not thinking about your well-being either. You haven't built that connection. You get what I'm saying? Or even the person you don't go to work, but when you did go to work, when you did have a job, right? They're not checking on you and making sure you ate and all this other stuff. They care about you. They like you, but they're not checking on your well-being. Why is it that this person who you haven't built that connection with, why are you placing that on them? I think that men need to focus more on building connections with women as opposed to assuming that because they're a man, they have money and they like themselves that, oh, well, she clearly likes me. She did it. No. Men want women from back in the day, right? But even women back in the day wanted men who never existed, right? And when they do exist, it's far and few in between. And that's not okay. It's not okay that the majority of women back in the day grew up learning how to cook, clean, do all this stuff, but the men never learned. The majority of men never learned how to emotionally care for those women so that they would always be in the desire or the position to want to even do that. It's not fair. But you're just like, oh, well, that's how men are. And it's like, that's how you choose to be. The same way you saying that's how men are, why are women operating like this nowadays? If back in the day, they all cooked and cleaned and catered and did all this stuff, why are women operating this way? It's a response to you and your behavior. They are learning. We cannot trust the men. We can't rely on the men. They are not interested in giving us the romance we're interested in. They're not interested, right, in living out our love fantasies together with us. They're not. They're only interested in using us for money, using us for whatever resources, not just money, right, but whatever resources. I really wanted to say sex initially, but whatever resources they can out of you. Whether it be a child, whether it be a house, whether it be love they don't get from anywhere else, whether it be this stupid default sense of loyalty that a lot of women offer, right? Your low self-esteem, because a lot of times the reason why these niggas is able to come in and out and get what they got out of you is because you are suffering from low self-esteem. You need to dial that shit back up, So again, right? Women are operating, right, in opposition to what they don't want. I'm not trying to be left alone. I'm not trying to be used. So I'm not going to look at this. I'm not going to take these relationships serious. I'm not going to take men seriously. I'm just not. And now you have women like I was just reading the other day, Sherry Shepherd. She got into a marriage with this guy. I don't know how long they had been dating, maybe like 4 years. They got married. A year into the marriage, she had already had a child, and that child had ended in a premature labor. And he was autistic, I believe, right? And so she loves and cares for that kid, and she takes care of it, from my understanding. I'm not really sure because her ex-husband was saying that she's a terrible mom and she doesn't take care of the kid. The kid was literate, all this other stuff. So who knows, right? But the man she was married to at the time got her to agree to get a surrogate. They get the surrogate. Once she signs the paper, he puts her ass on child support. puts her ass on child support. She didn't want him to leave the marriage, but apparently he was using her to get a child so he can get alimony or get child support. So he was getting $4,100 a month for this child, and that's all he's getting, and that's all he can live off of at this point, because he doesn't work, he doesn't do anything. And still in 2023, because it's about 5 years ago, or maybe even 11, because the kid is 11 now, or 8 or something. I forget. I literally just read it the other day, so I don't know all the specific details. But big enough, she don't want nothing to do with that motherfucking kid. It's not her egg. It's not even her. The kid has no connection to her whatsoever. It's literally his kid. But they went, they did it through a surrogacy, right? And so it's his kid with the surrogate. And she's like, I ain't taking care of that motherfucking kid. I'm not. I'll pay you this money, but I'm not about to do anything with this kid. I want no relationship. I want no nothing. So she pays $4,100 a month, and she will continue to pay that money. And I think it goes up to $4,600 once the kid turns 13, until he's 18. Yeah. And so his shitty ass father, instead of getting a job and adding to the situation so that, you know, his son could have more and do well, decided that he was going to be a stay-at-home dad, live off that $4,100 or whatever the case. And by the time his son is about to go to school, the son won't have any real money to go to school with. He's going to have to get financial aid or pray to the heavens, right, that he can get a loan, right, a scholarship of sorts to pay for it. But yeah, women are making a lot of changes because men are not stepping up to the plate. It just is what it is. I want to end this video here. If you like what I have to say, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Please leave your feelings, your thoughts, your comments down below. I would love to hear what you have to say. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. Bye.